All right, so we're going to talk about setting appointments, how to use the lockbox properly, showing vacant homes, showing occupied homes, and showing new homes. With that, you guys should have picked up this packet and then this one MLS sheet. I've actually pulled up 4 or 5 homes, and I'm going to show you in here. I saved a search. So if you need to learn how to save searches, that's a totally different thing. But we're going to assume today that we have a buyer. We send them up on a search, and they're like, okay, here are the 5 properties that I want. So we're going to pull the properties and how to go through that whole process. So you're going to go in here. If you haven't seen it, I don't know if all of you should already be on the MLS. Lisa, do you have the MLS up? And are you able to log into that? Okay, perfect. Okay, so you go to your matrix. I saved the search because I knew what we were doing today. So I'm going to go under just save searches. And what did I save it under? Showing homes. Sorry, I got a lot of save searches in here. There we go. So my results. Okay. So my clients gave me certain criteria, certain price range. I typed all that in there, and then they picked they've got 10 properties. Well, they picked 5. So I'm like, what do I do? We've got the 5 homes. So setting appointments. Well, I want to ask, what does everybody think a good number of homes to show them per day is? Like if they said, hey, we got 10 matches. Do you go to look at all 10? Do you look at 5? Do you look at 4? Like in person? Yeah, when you're actually going to go show them the house. I would probably do more than 3. And here's what my thinking is. You've got the whole valley. Picture it as a big round circle. Put it into 4 quadrants. You're going to show the northwest. Let me go this way. The northwest, the northeast, the southwest, the southeast. Henderson usually goes to Las Vegas Boulevard and everything, east of that. And then you can do Southern Highlands, Blue Diamond, like all of that. If they want Pahrump, that's a day in itself, because you've got an hour plus each way. Boulder City, I kind of tend to do itself as well. But otherwise, if you're just doing the valley, I'll say, okay, great. We've got to search. Because some people say, I don't care where I live. I don't have kids. I don't care about the school district. I just want something in this price range, 1 story, blah, blah, blah. So you open it up to the whole valley. Well, it never fails. They're going to give you one as far north as you can get and one as far south as you can get. So what I do is I say, great, we have them all spread out around the valley, so we're going to take them in quadrants. So today we're going to work on the northeast side. It's more like Aliante and, that side here. So these are the ones, and I'll tell them, these are the ones that you have to choose from for tomorrow's showing. Let me know which ones interest you. I always try to get them to give me their numbers, all these MLS numbers, the day before, because I have to schedule appointments on some of them. They want a 2-hour notice. If there's a tenant in there, do you know what happens with a tenant? You need to, by law, give them 24-hour notice. They can say in there they only need 2-hour notice. You try to give them more than that, because by law, that tenant can still say no, even though they've already agreed on 2 hours. So you want to get as much time notice as possible. Now, sometimes you get it and it's like 2 hours short of the 24 hours. I still call up and say, I know I'm a little short of the 24 hours, but do you mind if we come by tomorrow at this time? I still ask, but you always kind of want to read your agent-to-agent remarks and see what they're saying in there. So I tell my clients, pick 5, 6 homes. I try to go 5 or 6, and then that way, if for some reason we can't get into one's gone under contract, sometimes I'll do 7 homes. Pick 7 homes, and then we'll see how many we can get to. And if I've only got 3 out of those 7, I'll say, hey, we can only see 3 tomorrow. Are there a couple more that you want to see? And I can add to your list. But I try to show 5 to 6 homes in a day. That's it, because they get so confused. By the 5th home, they don't remember what the first home looked like. Was that the one with this cool wall? Was that, they don't remember. So technically, you're not supposed to let them go in and take pictures of somebody's home if they live there, because we don't know what they have. If it's a vacant home, I'm like, sure, go ahead. But I give them these sheets, and we'll go over that in a minute, and I'll say, here's your sheets on the back. Just write down little notes, things that impress you, things that will make you remember that home. Because all they're going to see is that one picture, and they're like, I don't remember what the inside looked like. So I do my quadrants, and then how much time do you schedule to view each home? An hour for each home? No! You want to get in and get out. If they like the home, it's pretty standard. Come on in. There's 2 sheets to pick up right here. So if they like the home, they'll generally stay more than 15 minutes. But sometimes they're going to get in, get out within 3-4 minutes. And it's helpful when you're the listing agent because you have your lockbox. And as soon as they access the lockbox, I know what time they've gone in. And if they've accessed the lockbox within 4 minutes, I'm like, well, we're not getting an offer on that one. But if they're like 30, 40 minutes, I'm like, they really like the house. So I generally, when I'm making my route for my buyers, I generally keep like 15-minute increments for each house. So I'll book one at 1, and then I'll give 15 minutes to drive to the next one, and I'll book another one at 1:30 because you've always got a lot for that drive time. You also have to know your client. I've had clients that I just want to get in, I just need to get something for the next 2 years. Yeah, this will work, and we're out the door. I have other clients that will review the whole house twice. And then they come downstairs, yeah, we still don't like it. But you know what, I did want to check the master bathroom again. And they're just, but if you don't like it, let's just move on. Yeah, but I just, you know what, I just want to see it one more time. They're placing the furniture and then they're like, yeah, I still don't like it. Why are you placing your furniture down? Let's get in, get out. I tell people right at the very beginning, the first time I go to show them, listen, you're not going to hurt my feelings. This is not my home. I'm here to get you what you want. If you like it, great. If you don't, don't. We pull up in front of it and you just don't like the neighborhood, let me know. We're not going to waste time going in. Don't waste there, because all it's going to do is mess up all of the things that you're remembering about the other houses. But sometimes you walk in, there's a terrible smell and they can't get past it. You guys want to keep looking? Okay, let's go and lock it up. But if they don't like it right off the bat, don't even bother going in. They don't like the street, they don't like the area. Cool, doesn't hurt my feelings. Let's just move on. Now, if you've made an appointment though, and the seller's living in the house, and you pull up and they're like, I don't like the neighborhood, you have to call that seller and say, I'm sorry, we got out front, they really just don't like the neighborhood, we will not be coming in. Because a lot of times those sellers, if they're at home, it could be a mom with kids and are juggling dogs or whatever, and she's just cleaned everything and she's standing outside in the heat waiting for you and waiting for you, and like you never show up and it becomes a mess. So just give them that courtesy call to cancel. I even call the listing agent on the ones that I like made a showing time appointment. Just call the agent and say, hey, just so you know, we're not coming. They don't like the neighborhood. Just to communicate, because that agent is kind of waiting and then they're not booking somebody else because you have scheduled an appointment. So I always try to just communicate. A lot of our problems in this industry is because nobody communicates with each other. So more information with other realtors is better than none at all. So it will help alleviate things and also maybe help you get offers if you do show them that courtesy. So, all right, so we're going to know our clients. I said divide the city into the 4 quadrants, northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast. And then when they find the 5 or 6 homes that they want, you're going to print 2 things from the MLS, from the MLS. You're going to print the agent, I think it's called the agent view, agent brochure view. I have to look at that. Agent view, and then the client brochure view. These are the ones that I give out to my clients. I've been doing it for 19 years because it gives a little picture of the front of the house, and it gives pretty much all the same information as this, except for your agent-to-agent remarks, which we're not allowed to divulge. But that way they have it. They pick the 5 homes. I number each one at the top left corner. Top right corner. Yeah, top right corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason why I do that, it's the order that we're driving. Because sometimes they're following you, then you get through the light, they don't get through, and next thing you know, they're lost. And they were following you, and they've got the address, but they don't want to touch their phone, and blah, 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 blah. But at least they have it. Some of them, you give it to them, they throw them in the back seat, and they just follow you all day long, and then it's a problem. But I'm like, guys, hold on to your papers, take them into each one, because then they'll get in there like, what's the square footage? How many bedrooms? Like, it's in your paper. It's in your paper. So, but I always say, we get out of the car, do you have your papers to make notes? I'm constantly, every class, okay, do you have your paper to make notes? Because I want to encourage them to make notes. Because when they're making notes, it helps me. If they didn't like anything we viewed today, okay, great. Is there anything that you saw today you want to make an offer on? No? Okay, why? What is it that you didn't like? And then they're like, well, that one had this and that one had that. It just, all the information they give me makes my job so much easier. If I know they do not want a house on the outside perimeter of subdivision, I can at least try to look that up when I find a property, Google Earth, and say, before we look at it, it's on the outside perimeter. You guys still want to look at it. I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste the seller's time. So get as much information as you can out of them before. Let's see. All right, so you're going to print your brochures or your sheets, and then you're going to put them in a driving order, okay? So what I do is when I get here, I've picked, let me highlight the properties that I picked. I know I picked Shockwave and Great Egret, Fossil Lake, Stardust, and, hold on. Oh, San Gabriel, which one? 4404. Okay, so I've highlighted the ones that I want, and I'm going to go to map, okay? And on the map, the ones that are blue are the ones that I highlighted. Okay, so we see up here, 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 here. So I figure out what's the best route. Do I want to start low and go high? Do I want to start high and go low? And a lot of times, I'm not going to lie, it just depends on where I'm coming from. If I'm coming from home, I'm starting up here because I live over in this area. So I'm going to start up here. Sometimes if I'm coming from the south, I'll start down here so I end over here and I can just go right home. It just depends. You know, you do whatever is convenient for you, your client. They're like, hey, you know, if your client's coming from here, you don't want them to drive all the way up here to drive back down. So be courteous, you know, just find out all that information. Now, when you're scheduling appointments, I know I want to meet them at 1:30. So say I want to start here. I'll call this person. If this person says, hey, I can't get there till 4, guess what? I'm going to start this way. So the first call that I make kind of determines which direction I'm going. And then sometimes you'll call this one, and these two can't get to the afternoon. So then I call this person back and say, hey, can I reschedule till later? And then I start this direction. You know, so it takes a little bit of time and planning. And so what you're going to do is the 5 that you're going to pull, I always say, read everything first. Okay, I put them in the order that I want, and then I go, okay, the very first one, sellers require 2-hour notice. And you guys should have this one. That's the only one I copied for you guys. Requires 2-hour notice for showing. Call this number to schedule. And then it says, when you're, for more information or questions, please call this gentleman, Richard, with his number. When submitting an offer, send it to this email. And copy Richard. And then include your buyer's proof of funds. Read that. Because if you don't read that, and you go down here and you're like, oh, listing agent, I'm going to call Jim. Well, right here it says appointment showing time. So something, if you guys want to look at the bottom of that first page, there are 5 different ways that they can put your showing instructions in there. First is appointment only. You call that agent, you make appointment. Then there's key any, which means it's vacant and you can go anytime. You as a listing agent, if you put key any and it's occupied and the seller's like, they can come whenever they want, that's a $250 fine for you automatically. They don't, if they find out someone's living in that house and you put key any, you're getting fined. Okay, same with showing time. If their instructions say showing time and you call them, guess what? He could turn you in a $250 fine for you. Automatically, because you did not read their instructions. So you want to read their instructions on how they want you to make an appointment. Then there's key call, which means, you know, you can go in but call first just to alert us that you're coming. And then there's no showings. You'll get no showings because they're doing something in the house. There's somebody staying at the house right now. There's a tenant. And make an offer upon accepted offer will let you view it. You know, there's just so many ways. Yeah, you'll get that because tenants won't let you in. So, but once you have a legal binding contract, the tenant has to let you in. So you can't view it before you make an offer, but you just throw an offer out there, then you view it, and then you start negotiating because you're like, well, this has that, and that has that, and this is beat up, and da da da. So the first offer, I hate when they do that because I'm making an offer on something I don't know. So you know that you're always going to go back and readjust that offer. Do you have multiple offers? Is the property falling apart? Do I need to adjust my price? You know, because you're just going to give them full price at that point because you can't get in there. So it's a little bit tricky, but just read everything first. So generally, I look at the address, I look at the price, I start at the bottom, and then I go to the middle. I'm like, okay, showing time, appointment. This one's got a lot. It says appointment, showing time, agent, restrictions. Like, there's a lot. So what I would do is I go up here and I read sellers need a 2-hour notice for showing appointments. Call this number to schedule. But then why did you put showing time down there? Like, so
that's confusing
Very confusing. So at that point, you won't get a fine because you're like, it clearly states here, call to schedule. So what you would do is call him first. But what he'll probably do is say, yeah, they just need 2 hours. Go ahead to go to showing time to schedule. Well, why didn't you just tell me that?
An app, you have to go.
We got that in here, yeah. Well, it's not an app per se, but it's, if you go, look at here.
I know it's on there.
Yeah, and you can go from the main screen, like right here, or they did have one. Actually, I couldn't find it the other day, so I don't know if they took it out. Oh, right here. I was looking for blue. Yeah, so you can go right here, and it'll ask you for the MLS number or property address. I just like to go right here, and I know that, let me go back to my results. And then, so Shockwave. We're going to click on that one, and if I want to make a showing, they don't even have it highlighted because they don't want you, this must be the one that says no showing. So right here. So you're going to have this little icon, and I put it in your packet here. So, and what I like about this is you're already in the property address. So when you're in this form right here, you click here, and it just says this is the property I want to go to. You don't miscommunicate addresses and stuff like that. So when you click on that, it brings you to here, and it'll bring a picture of the property, it'll bring the address, appointment required, wait for confirmation. So when you request this, it says, has asked to make the appointment, and you wait. They will send you a text message, because as soon as I get that as a listing agent, it says somebody would like to view your home at 2:30. I just like, oh, good, yes, confirm. And then as soon as I hit confirm, it confirms with you guys on a phone call and a text message. But then, so you'll go down here, just schedule a single showing, that's it. And then it'll tell you, like, this is all blocked off because it's already past that time. But sometimes you'll see a black block right here and one down here. You just can't schedule that time. Like this, I don't think it would schedule. Maybe it will. View your appointments. You request an appointment. That's too soon. So when you get that, you can call them and say, hey, it's not letting me book it on showing time, but we'd like to come in the next half hour, because it won't let you book it. And so then you can call, and you're not going to get in trouble because you're trying to get in there sooner than it'll allow you to book. But normally you would just click this, and then it just kind of confirms everything again, and it says 2 hours appointment, right, for this one. And then you just make sure, showing appointment, what time, it asks you how much time do you think you're going to need in that house. Because it's going to tell the seller, hey, they're only asking for 15 minutes. I always tell my seller, they ask for 15. If they like it, give them 30. Just know that you have to step away and not come back until they're out. But then you drop down here, I need 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, and then you request the appointment. And then it'll immediately, I'm not going to do that because there's obviously somebody in the house. But
like that's the house they want, and now all of a sudden they want to stay there longer.
And they can, and usually. No, there's nothing that you can do. You don't ever get another pop-up. But at that point, I'm like, if we're talking, I'll text the agent, sorry. I mean, unless you know, you can go into showing time and see if they have other blocks, because then you'll know that they've got other appointments. And it'll be like black down here and black down here, and you're trying to book here. This is you, but now all of these are black. You're like, hey, there's another person waiting outside. We do kind of need to hurry it along. Take on your pictures, what you got to do, and then we'll talk outside. But if it's all empty, then I just usually text the agent, hey, I'm still on the property at 123 Main Street. They really do like it. Is it okay that we hang out here for a minute, while they still look around? And usually they're like, cool. A lot of agents don't answer their phones, so just keep that in mind. But if somebody knocks on the door and said, we have a 4:30, that's when you're like, okay, we'll step out. So sorry, we're just taking extra little time. Sorry, we'll move out. And then you're like, guys, we got to go.
Is that only for showing appointments, or could that be blacked out because the seller is home and doesn't want to?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah,
you don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, there were certain times, like if somebody's sick or the grandmother's there and they need help taking the grandmother out, so we can't show it because I'm waiting for my husband to get home and help me with the grandmother, a baby sleeping. Hey, this is nap time. We're not showing during that time. So they block them out. So you can only pick, let me go back and get out of here. You can only pick any of the open spots. So even though today's the 13th, if I want to go on Sunday, I'll request it and they can okay it. But they might cancel me between now and then because they might get an offer. But they'll let you know. And then they don't even call you. They just go in there and cancel. And then you're like, canceled for Sunday. Oh, okay. But they all kind of communicate through here. I like it. There's a love-hate relationship with this because from what we hear, Zillow owns it. And so people are like, I'm not putting my client's information in there. But as you saw, I didn't put any client information in there. I just booked appointment. And they don't know which client I'm bringing. You can. It asks you, do you want to put your buyer in there and all this stuff? No, I don't. That's my buyer. But yeah, I do like it because then it sets the appointment, and they know, and they keep you alerted and stuff. Sometimes they'll put notes in there that says, you're confirmed, alarm code is in the key box, or they'll tell you what the alarm code is there because you've booked the appointment, but they're not telling you on here. So keep that in mind. It's really helpful. But like I was saying, so you've got, well, let's go back. So you're going to call to make the appointment or your showing time. But before you call, make sure you read those agent-to-agent remarks. If nothing's noted, just call. If it just says, owner-occupied appointment, then call. Make an appointment. If it doesn't have a number up here to call, like a co-listing agent or something, you're just going to call the listing agent that's listed down there. So I don't know if everybody's familiar on how to read these MLS sheets. But the agent-to-agent one is going to give us all the information. Let me just turn this air. I'm freezing. You guys let me know. I'm always cold, so it's just always freezing in here. It'll only let me go to 73, but usually stops at the blowing. So, but whenever I print these out, this is the agent-to-agent one, and that's the brochure one. Again, gives a general, pretty much all the information, taxes, HOA, and a picture of the home. But this is the secret stuff, the agent-to-agent stuff that only us agents know. But I'll pull it and I look at the address, I look at the price, I sometimes look at the year of the home. Cool. Square footage, number of bedrooms, pool, like whatever they're asking for, make sure it is what it is. And then I always go to the bottom and start my way up. I'm not going to lie, I always start at the co-op because I just want to know. Because the way I do my business is I get X percent. That's what I get. If they're not paying me that, I need to know that ahead of time so I can have that conversation with my clients. Hey, I know you picked this property, just so you know there's going to be an extra 0.5% on your end because the seller's not paying the full commission, so do you still want to see that property? And I have that conversation with them. Then I go over here and I check at the showing appointment times and things like that I need to see. I see who the listing agent is because that's a big one for me. There's some agents that are a little bit more difficult to work with and some that won't answer their phone. And so, so I just know that, like, hey, I got there's no key, and I know this is an agent I can't get a hold of. I'll do my best, but we might not be able to see this property today. So you'll learn who these agents are, and then there's ones like, oh my gosh, I love this agent. And then you're like, this would be an awesome deal to work through because they're a really great agent. But then I look at the HOA, I look at the earnest money, because sometimes they want $10,000 for a $180,000 property, and you're like, okay, that doesn't even make sense. But that's a lot of money to tie up for your clients. So just have that conversation. We can, if we like it, we can make an offer. They're wanting $10,000 earnest money. We'll ask for less, but that might be a deal breaker. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. But I'll look at the HOA. It says monthly HOA, SIDS, LIDs, master plan fees, because all of that matters. Because their lender's going to give you a pre-approval. This is their max sales price. But all these little fees in here change that. Because if they have no HOA, yeah, they qualify for this. If they have a $30 HOA, yeah, we could probably fudge it. But if they have a $300 HOA, that's $300 less a month that they have to spend on their mortgage. So you kind of have to balance that out. I get to know my lender, and I call them ahead of time. Hey, we're going to look at a property tomorrow, and there's like $350 HOA, monthly HOA. Do we qualify? What's our max sales price at that point? I'll say, okay, guys, we can't look at it. The HOA is too high. All those numbers matter in there. Why show them something? Because they're probably going to fall in love with something that they can't have. So I try to diffuse that before we get to that point. But, okay, so let's go to the next page here. So on this next page, it just shows you that top of where you can schedule that showing time. And at the top, you'll want to click on it and then just follow like we did. And then once you've put your properties in order and you've numbered them, I like to put on the top, like before I start calling, APPT for appointment. And then I put V for vacant. I'll put tenant in there. That way I know that I probably have to give more time notification. And then I'll put what time I think I'm going there. Like the first one, gonna be 1:30. And then once they confirm, I'll put a C. You can call to set an appointment, and it could be 5 hours before that agent responds back to you. So I just put a question mark. I'm like, hey guys, I got these in order. One of them I haven't heard back from the agent, so once I do, I'll confirm. Sometimes you never hear back from that agent. do you think you can go? Do not go to that property unless that agent confirms, even if it's vacant and it says make an appointment. Do not walk into that property until you get somebody to confirm you. If it says vacant, show any, key any, you're good. But if it says vacant, appointment, you cannot go in. You have to get confirmation from that listing agent. So just mind that. It's a big thing, and they will crack down on that. And you don't want to get all these fines for things, little things like that. Like that was just because you didn't read it or you just went anyways. Don't do that. But so what I'll do is I'll put appointment 1:30, and once they confirm, I put seat confirm. And then this one it says appointment showing time. So I know, and then so I get them in order. I tell myself how I need to do that. And then that way, when I make an offer, I always send this MLS sheet. The reason why I send this MLS sheet, I can't tell you how many times it'll tell you 3% co-op. Then they go under contract and it's now 2% co-op. And you're like, that's not what I sent you. They try to get trickery here. So I'm like, yep, that's why I send it with my offer. When I'm showing the home, it's date and time stamped as well. When I pulled the property, when I viewed it, it's got my appointment time on there. Like there's no mishap there. You just have to have good notes in this business. Write notes for everything. And everybody laughs at me, but I love my sticky notes. But my sticky notes are everywhere. They're on everything because I just need to know. So when you do that and you're like, okay, you send it to title and title's like, it's 2%. You're like, wait a minute. Nope, look at the MLS sheet. I sent it with the original offer. Oh, yeah, but they changed it. Well, they didn't change it when I viewed it. So, and then if you have a dispute, then you have to call the LVR, find out what time exactly they changed that in. Like, it's a whole big thing, but it happens. So that's why you print it out. It's got your date and time. Don't print this 5 days before and then go, it says 4:30 and or it says 10 a.m. and you go at 7 o'clock at night 5 days later. That doesn't matter. I'll generally do it no more than 24 hours. And if it's more than that, I will print a new one, make sure it's the same, and then I go. Because you want as updated information as possible because they could change things like they listed it with the appliances. And then 2 days later, they took out the appliances, but you have the one that says appliances. Clients think you're getting the appliance. It's just a whole big thing. So you want these as current as possible. And use these numbers loosely, guys. At the bottom, it usually says this information is, where is it? Oh, I don't have that page. Oh, LVR deems this information reliable but not guaranteed. It is a violation to provide detailed printouts to a customer client, meaning do not ever send this detailed printout to a client. It's got the personal agent-to-agent remarks that will have alarm codes, gate code. You do not give this. Well, you will get fined heavily if you give this agent one out to anybody. But when they say it's deemed reliable but not guaranteed, because a lot of agents get a little lazy and they don't go and measure the rooms. They don't check the schools. They don't do that stuff. So you're in this house that you're like, I'm putting 3 kids in this one room. I need at least 15 by 15. It says 15 by 15 and you get there and it's 10 by 10 because the agent was just copying from somebody else's listing. And what they had as bedroom 2, they have as bedroom 3, and it's all a mess. So you're gonna wanna go and do all of your stuff and tell your clients, hey, this is pretty close, but it's not exact. So if you are concerned about the measurements, bring a tape measure. Bring a measuring laser, whatever you got to do. Because we'll get that, like TV spaces and garages. Like they want to measure everything. And that's up to them. They're going to be one buying the house and living in the house. But just tell them this is not 100% guaranteed information on there. Yeah. So with that, let's see. So we talked about the appointments. And then what happens if you're like, you've got 5 homes, and then they're like, you're supposed to be ending at 4 o'clock, and they're like, hey, you can't come in until 6:30. I'll be home then. Do you make your clients wait? Like, what do you do? Everybody else said yeah, but the last one, if it doesn't fit in, you can give it a take and say, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee, but don't make your clients wait 3 hours. Just say, that's probably not going to work for today, so I'll try to put you in if we don't find one today. Sometimes that sentence will make them say, you know what, I'm going to have my husband run home. Okay. But other times they're like, I just can't get there. I can't open the house. My dogs are in there. I can't, I didn't lock them up this morning. And you don't want to walk into a home. If you hear dogs running up to the door, do not go in. People get bit all the time. And as friendly as you think you are, those dogs might not. I also say people will leave their young kids home alone, and they'll still tell you it's okay to go there. And if you open the door and a child answers the door and you're like, are your parents home? No, you need to leave. Do not go into that house with an unattended minor at all, unless you ask that minor to step out, but then you're responsible for putting some kid outside. Like, it's just becomes a mess. I've walked into a home, it said vacant. Not, because the way I do it, and we'll go through that, even though it says vacant, I knock on the door, I ring the doorbell, I open the door. Hi, this is Wendy Scheller, a realtor entering. Well, knock, I ring, nothing. I open the door, and there's a little kid, he must have been 3, standing there, just staring at me. I go, hi, are your parents home? And I'm thinking it's supposed to be vacant. I'm looking in there, there's boxes and everything. And this guy comes around the corner, and he's like, oh, no, we just moved in. And I said, just moved in? He goes, yeah, we bought the home. I said, no, it's supposed to be vacant. We bought the home, and he slams the door. I call the agent. She's like, no, it's vacant. I said, it is not vacant. You have a family in there. So I have to stay there. My clients have to stay there. She comes over. We call the police. It becomes this whole big thing because now you got squatters in there. The police want to take a statement. It ruined my whole showing day. So I had to go back and call, but you have to do what you have to do because you don't want to be responsible. If you open a lockbox and there's no key in there, you stop what you're doing and you call that agent. I just opened this, and you text them. You have it in writing, because if that key's missing, it's on you. You're the last number in that lockbox. So you cannot move. Do not move. This was not me. If you go in there and doors were left open, and I walked to the back, the slider's wide open, get out. Sorry, I text the agent. Hey, we just walked in. Your doors are wide open. Slider was left open. Don't know if somebody broke in. We are out front. I haven't gone through the house. How do you want to control this? Do you guys want to come and lock it up? Because I'm not going back in there. Let them know, because it's your safety. You go upstairs, somebody heard you coming in, they ran upstairs, they're going to shoot you. You don't know what happened. It could have been an agent on the other end. She's talking, and then she's forgot to shut the slider. It could be something so simple, but you don't know, but your safety is first and foremost. Then you go out front, and then you call the agent, but you've got to let them know, because if you left it and didn't call them, you're just like, we're not going to view it. Guess what? You just left the slider open, because it was you, the last number in that box. So that's why you always call. I call, text, and email. Just so it's in writing every which way, but I call to get them immediately. And I'm like, great, are you on your way? I'm going to send you a text and an email just so you know we have this in writing. Awesome. It was not me. I'll wait here for you. Things happen. I mean, you just got to, but always just, I don't say things like this to scare you, because I know you guys are going, this is a lot. But it's just really to protect yourself. It's to protect those sellers. It's to protect your buyers. And it's your license on the line. So just, if you document it and you did nothing wrong, just document it. This was not me. Just letting you know, I can't get the front door locked. That happens a lot too. And it's nobody's fault, but you're like, I'm trying, I can't get it locked. There'll be wrong keys in there. There'll be no keys in there. Like, there's just, I always say, something's always gonna happen. So I'm like, we have 5 on today. If all goes well, we'll see all 5. But you never know. We have people that are like, yep, my daughter will be there. She's in her 30s. She'll let you guys in. Yeah, daughter's not there. And you're waiting. Oh, she's on her way. Oh, she's stuck in traffic. Oh, she's like, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. So now that just bumped all of your showings, or you'll say, I'll come back. You'll be on the last, anything can happen. So when you're making appointments, just a lot. People like to do back-to-back. The only time I do back-to-back, like 10, 15-minute intervals, is when they are on the same street or in the same subdivision. But otherwise, I get 15 minutes for a house, 15 minutes at least to drive there. Know your route. Know the time. Don't plan to get 5 blocks away in 3 minutes. You're not, if at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, you're going through major streets and stuff. So just 15 minutes for the house, 15 minutes to get to the next one, 15 minutes to show that one. So I plan 4 homes an hour. And I say, maybe we'll get a little sooner, but maybe not. And then what happens if you have an appointment for the first one, 3 are vacant, an appointment for the last one. And you blew through them, and now you're a half hour, 45 minutes early on that last one. You call the agent and just say, hey, I got finished with all my other showings. Would your seller mind if I showed up a little early? If not, you ask your buyers, do you want to wait? Just hang out. We can go get some coffee. Or do you want me to reschedule? This is not an easy thing to do as much as it sounds like it is. Just pick some homes and go. It is not. It's a little bit more entailed than that. But most of the time it works out. But that's why I say pick a quadrant. Because what if you're in the northwest and then you're in the southeast, and you've given yourself 30 minutes to get there? No problem. Well, they liked the house and spent 20 minutes in the house, and now you only have 15 minutes to get all the way across town, and then they're waiting, and then now I can't show you because I had to leave, and it just becomes a big mess. So I do it in quadrants. Sometimes I'll do half the city, and hey, we'll do 3 homes over here and 3 homes over here, and you know, that's it. You know, but I can't do all the way across town. That's a whole nother day. So keep that in mind when you're booking your appointments. Let's see. That's it. Okay, so the lockbox. Does everybody, so this is an electronic lockbox. You can have the manual ones that you buy at Home Depot for like $10. I don't suggest them because once you do that, you can open it up and there's a little thing. Once you do that in the code, you open up, there's a latch that just unhooks it. Bye-bye. And yeah, it doesn't cost you anything, but now nobody's going to put your key back, whatever. I like these boxes because the minute an agent opens it, it gives me the time that they opened it. It gives me their name, their phone number, their email, their brokerage. All of that information is in there. And it shoots me a text right away. Sentry lock, or sentry something, a showing, and I've got an email and a text from them immediately. So I know that they showed up for their appointment. What we're supposed to do is open the box, take the key out, shut it. Go view the home, come back, open it up, put the key back in there and shut it. So that way I can track when they come back to put the key in there. They were in there 25 minutes. I think they might like the home. I'll follow up later tonight to see if they want to make an offer. They were only in there like 4 minutes. I don't think they're going to, but I'll still follow up. You know, at least you know, or hey, you've got people waiting outside. They're still in there. What's going on? These boxes are good too in case you have a contractor and you can't get across town. It's a vacant home. As long as your seller's okay with it, giving you a 1-day code. And then they can say, hey, the contractor's going to come tomorrow at 10. Can I give him a 1-day code? Great. Contractor goes, he's in, puts the key back, and he's gone. So that way you're not running across town to do all of that. They're quite expensive. They used to be $100. I think they're up to, from what I heard, $180 now. But to me, they're priceless because I know everything about it. If you have your clients like took their dogs out and they're like, can you just tell me when they leave? Well, I'm not there. You know, why don't you go stand by the house? But you could say, hey, they just put and I'll tell them, hey, my seller's going to step away. So please shut the box when you get the key and then reopen it to put it back so I know when you're leaving so I can tell them to come back because they're walking around the neighborhood. And that goes into another thing. If the seller's there and they meet you at the door, hey, I'm just going to take my dogs out. Awesome. Ask them, do you want me to lock that front door when I leave or you want me to leave it unlocked? Because you lock it, they're walking around the neighborhood and didn't bring their keys and now you just locked the seller out of the house. So you've left, they've got to call their agent. Can you give me a code to get it back into my own house? I mean, and they get mad. And if you're going to go submit an offer, you've just made them really mad. Your clients, they're going to remember your clients. So always ask. I myself tell my clients when I've got the listing, don't be there. Just let them access the lockbox. That way I know who it is. If they had an assistant come, like who was in your house. But if you let them in that door, I'm not going to know who's coming and going. So that's how I handle it. But you guys, everybody does their business their own way. But with the lockbox, you're going to have an app on your phone if you don't already. Does everybody have the app? Yep. Lisa, do you have the app? Oh, so I don't have to go through it. So you're going to have it, but anybody that's maybe watching the video, you're going to have an app. It's called the Century Key app. And with that app, it's going to pop up to the screen. It's like view nearby properties, release your shackle, get access codes. Access log is anytime somebody accesses your box. They all have a number at the top of the box. That number, if you have 5 boxes, when you go to access log, it'll tell you the box number, who was in there and all of that, and then assign a lockbox. So doing a lockbox, you're going to walk up to the house, locate the box, and then you're going to hit on the bottom right. Bottom right is the enter code, ENT. You're going to hit that and you're going to see the light up and then the blue light blinking. That's when you get into your app and you come over here, and I like to hit view nearby properties. And what it does is it connects to all the boxes in the neighborhood, and then you'll see a code, the numbers on the top of this box show up here with an address. And you're like, yep, that's the address I'm at. So I just touch it. It's going to verify my face. And you'll hear it. Still connecting. Sometimes it takes a bit. It might just be the building, sorry. Sometimes we get, but okay, so it doesn't seem to want to work. It's just thinking. And I always hit enter again because the boxes sometimes fall asleep. Still not working, but you'll hear a grinding, and then this front opens up. When the front opens up, I'm so mad that it's still thinking, oh, connecting, ensure the box is within range. Well, it's clearly within range, but I think now it's saying error. I think it's the Wi-Fi or whatever, the Bluetooth in here, like it's just not connecting. But, so what's gonna happen, it's gonna come forward, just drops forward, you pull the key out and then hold it shut for like 2-3 seconds and you'll hear it latch. That's it. Then you go in, knock, 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 ding, 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 open the door. Hi, this is Wendy, Realty One Group, showing the house today. Even if it's vacant, you're still gonna announce yourself. Even if they've scheduled the appointment and the seller left, grandma could be upstairs, you don't wanna startle her. They left, but they left grandma upstairs. Dogs too, you open up and if the dogs come running, sorry, everybody just get out here. But then let the dogs know that you're there. View the home, whatever, and then you're gonna come back, do the same thing. Hit enter, wake the box up, go into your app, and then just find that property again, and then boom, put the key back. It'll fall forward, put the key back, hold it shut. Once it shuts, and you hear it latch, pull on it. Because sometimes you walk away and the whole front opens up and now you've left that key exposed. And guess what? Your number is the last number in there. So you want to make sure that you've left that property secure. So I'm thinking, shut the box. Okay, so we went over how that lockbox. If you guys ever have questions, there is an 800 number on this app that you can call. But also you can call the LVR and just say, I need to talk to somebody about my lockboxes, and they can walk you through it. They might even have classes on that. You can call me now. Oh, also, these boxes are timed, so you can't just access them whenever you want. And I believe the general rule is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We can bypass that if that's our listing. I don't. I just leave it for courtesy of everybody, unless there's some really random reason that I need to let somebody in before that or after that. But it's as a courtesy. So you'll get people that are like, I can't get in your lockbox. Well, is it before 7 a.m.? Is it after 7 p.m.? Like, what's going on? Why are you trying to get in there so early? But they do that for safety. So just know if you ever at a home and it's locked you out, you can call the agent and just say, hey, I can't get in the lockbox. And sometimes you'll have an issue. If you go down to Mountain's Edge, there's not a lot of service down there. So a lot of times you can't get into these boxes. Will not connect with your phone like this. There's something that's stopping it. So you call the agent if you can get cell service and then say, hey, I'm here. Here's my public ID number. Your public ID number is what gets you into the MLS, right? That main number. It's not your license number. It's your public ID number, and that's what every realtor has. And say, this is my public ID number. Can you give me a one-day code? And then they look you up. You can go in here. Does everybody know how to look up an agent on the MLS? So if you ever want to find out, here, so go here and get rid of all this. So you're going to go AG space, oops, I'm going to spell my name right, Wendy Schaller. That's it, and hit enter. And you'll pop up. All my information, that's the number, so you're going to want to verify if this is your listing, that's their number that they gave you, and all my contact information. But for future, when you're writing offers as well, it's good to be able to look this up, and it'll give a picture, it'll give your information, your websites, all that kind of stuff, who your brokerage is, all that information. Now also, not that I'm teaching an MLS class, but if you guys go back to recent search, it'll bring up the last thing that you were looking at, so just FYI. An easy shortcut. But, so with that, that's your lockbox, that's how to use it. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go on showing vacant homes. Okay, let me just grab a sip of water. So now when we're showing vacant homes, they all show differently. So where do you park? It's vacant, so where do you park?
Not in front of the house?
Anybody? Okay. Janelle? Okay. Lisa? Lisa, where would you park? Lisa? If you, in the driveway? Yeah. Okay. Jasmine?
Park like on the street closest.
Okay. So myself, I don't ever park in the driveway. Ever. Ever, ever. And that's just for respect of the seller. But if it's vacant, I let my clients park in the driveway. Because I'm like, it might be their home, so how does it feel parking in the driveway, right? But if it's occupied, do not park there and do not let your clients park there. You will offend those sellers. Why are they parking in my driveway? It's still their home in their head, okay? So vacant home, I don't park there. So what I like to do though is let my clients in, and then I park in front and I block that driveway. Because you'll get some other agent that's going to park, it's a 2-car driveway, I'm parking in here too. Now your clients can't get out. And here's another question. Now that I didn't put this in here, but what if you're showing the home and somebody just walks in and says, oh, it's vacant, I'm coming in with my clients. Do you let them in? A couple of reasons why I say no. Because your clients will never pay attention to what's going on in the house because they're worried, do they like it? What's going on? They're running up and down, they're talking, they're having a conversation. Everybody gets their own showing. But not only that, you've accessed the lockbox. You are responsible for anything that happens in that house during that time. So now you let some random agent in there and you can't control his clients. They got kids running around, breaking things, but he never put his number in there, so you are responsible for it. So I have had people walk in, I'll say, hi, we're gonna be done in just a minute, do you mind waiting outside? Well, we're just gonna be, no sir, I do not show properties at the same time. Please allow enough time for my clients to be done. I get confrontational, and I don't mean to, but you have to.
Confrontational back.
That's fine. You know what, call that agent and let them know, that's what I say. Call the agent, let them know, but I was here first. Please step outside.
Lock the door behind you.
That's what I do. I walk in, but gotta know your clients. If this is the first time you ever around with clients, you want to lock yourself in a vacant home. So, I mean, there's all these things that you guys constantly, you got to think about. But most of the time, you know your clients. So I open the door. Hi, this is Wendy, Realty One. Hi, guys, go ahead, go on in. They go in, I shut the door, I lock it. And you'll get people knocking, and I'll go, hi. They're like, hey, do you mind if we come in? You get neighbors that want to just come in. No, you know what? Here's my card. I'm with some clients right now. Call me later today, and we can set up another time. Once I talk to your lender, you're getting a loan, you're doing CAT. I don't want to just let the neighbors in. It's not my job. Call the listing agent. Listing agent can let you in. If you're not serious and you just want to be a looky-loo, it's not my job to give you a free tour. I don't know you. What if they're trying to lock me in the house? Again, I'm real big on safety. I think everybody's out to get you. They just are. Whether they're going to sue you, attack you, I don't know, but they're all out to get you. So, but also, my clients, I want them to focus, because if they don't focus, I might have just missed the sale. And it might take me 3 more months to find them another home, but this was the perfect one. But they got all like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, there's people, and people will bring their dogs in. I had 2 gentlemen come from Washington, and they'd come up every couple of months, and they always had their dogs with them. I'm like, guys, I just can't let you bring your dogs. They had 2 little dogs. Can't let you bring your dogs into somebody else's house. So I'll do 2 tours. You stay outside with the dogs, take them in. Switch out, take them in. You gotta be respectful. Like, you get so many random just asks, and you're like, why did you bring the dogs? They'll bring 15 people with them. Hi guys, yeah, so I set that up ahead of time. I only like to take the 2 that are gonna be on the loan. If you're gonna have kids, I completely get that, but I just wanna let you know ahead of time, this is somebody else's house and their belongings, so you will have to hold your children's hands. Are you okay with that? If not, let me know when you have a babysitter. Say, hey, I'm a working mom. I completely understand where you're at. I also don't show homes to the wife in the morning, the husband in the evening. What time do you both go? Because guess what? They'll tell you, I can see it this morning, but my husband doesn't get off till 7. Okay, great. When will you have time together? We only have one chance to show the home. They're not going to let us in? Maybe not. Maybe it sells today. Maybe it sells tomorrow. But I want to see both of your reactions together. So you guys converse about the house. I don't want to do it separate times, because what you see, he might not see, and he's pointing things out. So I only show homes together. That's it. And unless I show it to you in the morning and sir, are you okay with her making the decision? Because if she likes it, we can write up an offer after we're done. No, I want to be okay, then let's do a time when you both can look. They try to skirt you around, but again, it's your time is valuable. Why do you want to go back and forth to the home 50 million times? And then they turn out they don't like it anyways. So it's just a lot of wasted time. So it's just knowing how to navigate through that. But again, you're going to set the appointment, you're going to lock the door, and you're not going to let anybody else in there for a lot of reasons. But yeah, so we'll do that. But so you knock at the door, ring the bell, even if it's vacant, you're going to go through all that, enter, shut the door behind you. I put lock it at your choice, but if you want to go at it with somebody, it's just easier to lock it. I walk in and they're talking, because they walked in before me, and I'm just like turning on lights, and I'll go over, I'm like, what do you guys think? Do you like this open floor plan? I'm opening blinds. I'm not like, let me open the blinds. Okay, oh, look at all the light. Like, I'm talking as I do all of that. And then, you know, we get to the kitchen. It's like, oh, do you like this? Do you want an island? Whatever. And I go over to the kitchen sink. And as I'm talking to them, I bend down and I open. I always check under the sinks, bathroom sinks, kitchen sinks, water sources. I want to see if there's active leaks, if there were leaks, if the whole bottom's, you know, watered out, if there's mold in there. You got to see what's in there because there could be active water. It could be mold that's halfway up the back of the wall. And you want to know this stuff ahead of time because anything you see at the house when you're viewing it, you're going to want to write in your contract. You know, we'll give you X amount of money for it and an additional term, seller to remediate the mold underneath the kitchen sink. It's there in writing. They agree to it. That's how it is done. And, you know, or they see a chandelier. It doesn't say anything in there about the chandelier. Guess what? In additional terms, chandelier at front door to stay with the convey with the property. Appliances, big one. I put in there GE profile refrigerator to convey with the property because they'll say all appliances stay. You know how many times they get to their new house and they want their old really good fridge, so then they put the garage fridge back over here and they just do this swap. You said appliances. It came with appliances. I gave you appliances. Didn't give you the ones that you saw, but I gave you appliances. They'll switch out fans, switch out light fixtures. So then we're going to go into the next page. And I don't know if some of you have remembered this. Chattel. Does anybody remember what chattel is from their classes? No. So chattel is tangible personal property that is movable between locations. It can refer to such items as mobile homes, furniture, automobiles. So it can't, when you're writing up a contract, some people want to sell the house fully furnished, but they want money for that furniture. Some people want money, some people are like fully furnished at no, so you're going to write in there all furniture to convey with the property at no additional value. Because if they're getting a loan, they're going to do appraisal. Some people will say, okay, well, it's valued at $500, but I want $550 because everything inside. Well, now it's not going to appraise for $550. So it's all the verbiage of it's to not, you know, at no value, convey at no value. I have one right now with an agent that it was an Airbnb, and she's like, I just want to sell it with everything, but I want money for all of that. I said, okay, well, we can't include that. So what I need you to do is go bedroom 1, light, nightstand, dresser, bed, curtains, everything, plant, this, that, and you're going to put a dollar figure. And they are outside if they ask, hey, how much is this? How much is that? I'm just going to give them, or she's going to give them, the price sheet. And that price sheet is talked about between the buyer and the seller through email, through us. But we do not negotiate. It's the buyer's agent that says, hey, they want everything in bedroom 2 and everything in the master. Hey, this is what they want, but they want it at this price. Okay, you just tell me what you want. Okay, and that's how I respond. I don't negotiate for them. I'm only selling your property. That stuff is done outside, but I don't want them talking directly to my buyer, or the buyer, because I'm doing the listing. So I don't want them talking to the buyer, the buyer's agent. So I will pass on emails, but you're not going to talk to anybody. But you can't add value to it inside that contract. When you write a contract, it's for your house. That is it. Everything that's going to stay is going to stay free. Otherwise, you guys are doing separate things outside of that, and I am not involved in that. Now, we do get a lot of things like what's a fixture and what's chattel. Fixtures are anything that are affixed to the wall, but there's still question about that. Improvements to real property like air conditioner, solar panels, fences, paved parking areas that are attached to the property and therefore are considered fixtures. But fixtures, they can all be transferred. Now, okay, they can be transferred, leased, or taxed as part of the real property. Chattel are movable objects without damaging the property. So keep in mind, you can't take something out that, and here's another one, like, so you have this huge armoire. Well, it's affixed because you put a non-tipping mechanism on that. Is it chattel? Is it a fixture? Because it's only fixed so it doesn't hurt somebody, but it's not, you know, it all becomes up in the air. So if you look here, when in doubt, list it in the contract, because it's not. It's just a piece of property, and I want it to stay, but yet it's fixed, but it's not. You know, so it just becomes a big mess, and deals will die because you thought it was included, they thought it wasn't included, nobody did, and then at the end the seller's like, I'm not including that. The buyer's like, well, I'm not buying the property unless it's included. And you can lose a house over a $100 fan. You know, and it just happens. So I always say, fan in the living room to stay. And I take pictures. Like GE profile, I'll take a picture there and I'll open it up and I'll take a picture of the little tag on the inside. This is what I want, because they'll put an old one from like 1980 in there, but I'm like, no, I want the new one that you had in there, and here's the code. You know, a lot of realtors aren't thinking you're doing that, but if you do that, there's no leg to stand on, and you will win, and then they have to explain that to their seller, not to you.
Technically, if it is a fan, a chandelier, that is
fixed.
So it stays.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to write that in.
But they
you
change
should,
it out.
So there's no
Yeah, if it's just a regular fan, you're like, fine. But you've seen those big palm fans, like the, you know, beachy looking fans that are thousands of dollars. They'll put it in there because it looks nice. And then when you go to close, you're like, what's this $50 Home Depot fan? Where'd the fan go? They're like, oh, that was never staying. You got a fan. There is a fan in there. I replaced it, but that's not what I saw. And it just becomes this big mess. So that's why I always say, you know, a palm fan to stay in the living room. GE profile to stay here. But we do have a lot of people that you've got your curtain fixtures, you know, the poles, those are fixed, those are staying. But the curtains themselves, some people think they should stay and other people, because they're on that pole. But the curtains themselves are not affixed. Curtains can be taken on and off. But you have those really nice valances that are made and bolted to the wall. Those have to stay. But the ones that you can take on and off the pole, I had a client that was like, that is ridiculous. I just moved into this house and they left all the poles and took the curtains. I'm like, why would you want, just run up to Walmart. She's like, I spent $7,000 on plantation shutters, but they don't come for 2 weeks. They took my curtains. I'm like, they were their curtains. Well, what are they going to do in their house? I said, I don't know, maybe they have a window in their new house. Like, I don't know, but they want to argue with you, and it puts such a bad taste in her mouth. Yes, we were already closed, but I don't like to end my deals like that because I still like to follow up. I still want referrals. I might not get referrals because the last person took the stupid $20 curtains, and I didn't even know what happened. So you just have to let them know, hey, there's curtains here now. The curtains don't stay, but the poles should. Can't guarantee that they won't try to take them out. But you just let them know that ahead of time because there are fights over everything. So we went in there. Okay, so now you've shown the house. Everything's good. When you're leaving the property, please, please, please make sure all doors are closed. Your clients sometimes will go and open up the windows. I want to see if I can look at, you're looking out the window. Do you need them open? Like, what are you doing? So now if you notice that they're doing things like that, ask them to stop. Say, hey, just in case the windows are off track, I don't want them to come back and charge you because they know we're in here and they probably have cameras. Oh, that's another thing. Say, step back. So when I tell everybody the first time we go out showing, just assume every house has cameras and microphones and they're watching you and listening to it. Yeah, most people have like a Ring doorbell or whatever, so they're going to see us. And when I went to go sell my house, the people didn't realize because my pointed right at the street. My driveway was over here, but they walked out and they stood on the driveway like this, and it's just, my Ring never shut off. So I heard their whole conversation. I knew what they were offering. I knew who wasn't qualified. I mean, I knew everything, but they should have walked around the corner so it would shut off. I couldn't hear anything, but I did it. I'm not going to assume nobody else is going to do it. So I tell everybody before we go in, just assume they're listening and watching. Don't say anything about your loan. Don't say how much they'll take off. Don't say any of that, because once they hear that inside, I had a deal just fall apart because the home inspector, the buyers came to the listing. We have the listing. The buyers showed up with the home inspector. The home inspector's like, there's really not much wrong with this house, but I'll make you a whole list. Just ask for a credit. You don't even have to fix it because none of this stuff matters. That seller says, I'm not giving them a dime. Then there were a couple things like a water pressure valve that should have been fixed. It wasn't the end of the world. They wanted a pan underneath the water heater, which it's recommended, but it's not required. It's only a $25 pan, but you have to pay somebody to take the whole water heater down, so it becomes a big thing. She's like, no, I'm not doing it. Full price, cash offer. She'd rather have them walk away because of that. And that's what happened. The deal went south because that stupid home inspector, just take the money. Wow. He is not right to speak enough, but she had cameras and they were not hidden. It was on the kitchen, the counter, and he still did it. So I tell everybody, do not talk, to watch what you do. And when we're in vacant homes, I don't necessarily say stay together. I just like, hey, you know what, but when I'm showing a home that somebody's in, somebody lives here, I'm going to ask that we all tour it together, because you'll get kids this way and a husband this way and a wife this way, and I can't watch them all, and I am responsible for that house. Now, if they're going to bring their kids, I'll just say this is somebody's house, so let's just keep the kids, under control. It's hard because you don't want to offend your clients, but you're just like, I'm responsible for everything that happens at this house, so if you don't mind just everybody kind of like staying together and not running around, and if you want something open, just let me know. I'll open it for you. Otherwise, the kids are just like bang, 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 and you just like, I had kids jumping on a bed one time. Like, it's just, oh my gosh, you guys. I come around the corner. Well, actually, I was my listing, so my clients were watching on their cameras, and they're like, and it was an agent that brought her own kids. And so it wasn't even the buyer's kids. So she was showing over here, and the kids were jumping on the master bed. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it just was awful. They ended up not making an offer, but I had to call and reprimand the agent. You know what? This was completely disrespectful. And she says, oh, well, those were my kids. I said, even more disrespectful. I said, I'm sorry that you have to bring your kids. I completely understand. We all get into situations like that. But if you can't control them, you should not be bringing them to somebody else's house. I said, because it looked really unprofessional to your clients, and it really infuriated my clients. So please watch your behavior for future. I have no problem putting another realtor in check, and I would hope they'd do the same for me. If I have misstepped and gone out of any boundary, please let me know, because I want to. We are held to a different standard, and if we don't hold each other to that standard, it's going to, so watch everything that you do and treat those homes like they are your own personal property. I can't stress that enough, because I just see so many things. I'm like, oh my goodness, what were they thinking? But, okay, so that was vacant homes. Oh, so when you're leaving, let's go finish that. So you're leaving, you're making sure all the lights are shut off, all the doors are locked, all the windows are closed, whatever. But if they've left, or if they have a little sign, and I'm one to do that, please leave this porch light on. Please leave this fan on. Please, because it's a vacant home and I don't want it to look, so I'll say leave certain lights on. If they have a sign, or if they tell you in the remarks, leave this on, leave that, leave it on. Because somebody might not get to it because it's vacant. So we as realtors should be going by every few days. The seller should be going by on opposite days, and we should all be watching that property. But does that happen? It could be a week or a month. They've left water running. Like, things happen. So if they've said leave this on or shut this off or do whatever, just follow those rules, because there's a reason for it. Now we'll go into showing occupied homes, and this is where I say, I always walk up to that door and say, hey, they could be listening, so let's not say anything. And also, I instruct my clients to stay together, especially in the occupied homes. And then again, if it's occupied, I never park in the driveway, and I never allow them to park in the driveway. So go back to the vacant home. Where do we park? They can park in the driveway. I'll park in front. If there's no room there, or maybe there's cars, because you all get a lot of neighbors. They know it's vacant, and they're parking in the driveway. And I've done this before, and we're waiting outside thinking somebody's viewing it. After like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm like, I'm just going to knock and let them know I'm here. Nobody there. And they're like, oh, no, we live next door. We're just parking there. We need extra parking. So I'm thinking somebody's in the house. So it's not wrong for you to alert the agent in there, knock, knock, knock. Hey, I just want to see about how long you guys think you'll be, because I've got some clients out here. Oh, just a few more minutes. Most of us are really cordial to each other, just like, oh, we just walked in. It's going to be about 10 minutes. Or no, we're on our way out, So just communicate with people, but sometimes you get those neighbors that are just, so then let's see, access the lockbox. It sends a message to the listing agent. Okay. If there's signs to take off the shoes, that's a big one. Take off your shoes, because people are like, I don't care. So I'll put booties in some of my listings. You can get them. I got mine at like Office Depot, and they come in a little box, and then you just put a little basket at the floor. I put two, one for clean and one for dirty, and I'll put little signs, clean and dirty. Because otherwise you're like, is this used? It's just gross, yeah. So, but if they have white carpet or something, or they just cleaned it, I also go and get that sticky clear, and I'll put a walkway, and I'll put in the notes, please stay on the sticky clear plastic, because it's just been cleaned. Think about it. The sellers spent all this money to get it looking nice, and now everybody's traipsing through and bringing all that dirt in there, and your buyers might buy that, and now the house is dirty. So I try to give as much instruction to detail as possible, that we know. And sometimes also it'll be a vacant home. Must make an appointment before showing, and I'll tell them, if there's an alarm code, please stay on the sticky stuff, lock this door. There's 2 keys, one for the gate, one for this, I want to have that conversation. But also, are your buyers cash, conventional, FHA? I just kind of want to know, like, so it's always, I like to communicate with all the other realtors. And then what I usually do is when I'm the listing agent, at the end of every day, I tell my clients, every day, if there's somebody that showed your house, I will contact them and I will follow up with you between 7 and 8 p.m. every day to let you know what I came by. Even if I couldn't get a hold of them, I'll let you know. If nobody viewed it, you won't hear from me. But if they did view it, I'll call you and let you know and give you a follow-up. Rather than doing once, I'll call you every Friday. Well, they want to know what's going on during the week. So just kind of keep in communication. So again, always talk with your other realtors. But so then same thing, you're going to take off your shoes, follow any rules that they have, still check under the sinks. If there's sellers in there, open every closet, check under every sink. Don't be afraid because your clients are potentially buying this home. So you want to know if there's any issues in the meantime. So just because they live down, don't rifle through everything, but just, there's some times where I have to see and I have to move things underneath the sink. Are we good? Okay, we're good. But I'm not going to start going through their closets and like, oh, okay, this is nice. I do walk in the master closet and I'm like, okay, look at all the storage. But you still need to check it out because there might be something you have to put in the offer that you need to see. And if you're afraid to look at it, they're afraid to look at it. So you're going to have to take lead. They're always following you. So take lead. Or if there's something you're like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't touch that, let it be. Some people want to turn on the fireplaces. And I'm like, you know what, that's a gas fixture. Why don't we just let that, if this is something you want to make an offer on, we'll let the home inspector test that. Okay, no big deal. But otherwise, you follow the same protocol as a vacant home. Then when leaving, you're going to shut off the lights and windows and blinds and all that kind of stuff. But again, if the sellers step out, ask them how they want to, and so you don't lock them out, because it does happen. And be courteous. If they've stepped out and you've made the appointment, they might be around the corner at the park with their kids and they're thinking you're coming and your clients don't want to see it anymore. Just let them know ahead of time that, hey, we're not going to view it anymore. They can come back. And sometimes if I know the seller's just stepping out, I'll call the agent. We're done. Okay, great. Because you don't want a mad seller. I've been there before where I'm like, oh, why did they do that to my property? Why didn't they let me know? There's a whole bunch of stuff. So now real quick, we're going to go, this is the last part, is showing model homes. So we've talked about this, and if you come to the sales meeting, you've seen D.R. Horton and Beazer and all that stuff, but I talk about it on a resale agent's side here. So you're going to go in and you're going to find the subdivision that you want to look. You can go to New Home Source through here. You can just say, hey, Richmond American, what do we have in the price point? KB, what do we have? Lennar, what do we have? So you can go through each one and do that. You can go through the New Home Source, but I myself, being in the industry for so many years, I've built a rapport with a lot of the new home divisions. And some of them have concierge, where there's a number for all 10 of their communities. It's one number. You call that concierge and say, I have a client looking in the Southwest, this price point, 4 bedrooms, and they're like, okay, we have this subdivision and this subdivision. So then what they do is like, when do you guys want to come? Tuesday at 4 o'clock, let me get with that subdivision. Then they call the subdivision and set it up. I don't particularly like that because I like to deal with the subdivision because that's the person I'm going to be dealing with the whole transaction. If I have to change my appointment, now I have to call them, they have to call them. It just becomes a convoluted mess, but that's how they do it. So if I can find the direct line to that subdivision, I always feel that it's best. So always call that subdivision before you bring your clients down there. Don't just say, oh, let's go look at model homes and drive, because prices have changed, inventory, they're sold out. Just because they're there on their signs does not mean they have any more inventory to sell you. It's a waste of time. Your clients are upset. But I call up and I'll ask price point, build time. How long is, what's your build time? Some of them are, hey, we build specs, so we already have inventory. We release every 2 months. Other ones are like, it's a 12-month build time. We start from dirt. Okay, so your client, you think that's kind of important information. Like if they need to move like now in the next 3 months, I'm not even going to show them that one. Why? So they can fall in love and know that they can't have it for 12 months? Or worst part is then they want to wait 12 months and you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm sitting here. So I've done all this work. They got on that list. Then a year and a half ago, everything was like a raffle. And every week you have to get on this thing and you're just waiting for them to call you. And then, I don't know. So know how they release their homes. Lot premiums, some people have it, some don't. So they'll tell you, oh, our house is set price, $400,000. Oh, but each lot has a $10, $20, $30, $50,000 lot premium. Well, that matters. How big is a lot? 3,000 square feet. Well, That's not even worth it. That's like a half a home for this much, you know, and you're like, so, but that's information you need to give your client. Some clients are like, I want a pool-sized backyard. Don't show them a patio home. So you find out, and I always ask, what are your lot dimensions? Are they big enough for a pool? I have somebody with an RV. Do you allow RVs in there? If you're buying a resale home, they're not going to know if they can get an RV gate. But if you buy a brand new home, they're going to know if you can put RV gates in there. Some people are like, I have to have it. I don't want to see anything that I can't get an RV gate, right? Ask them what upgrades they offer. Does it come with granite? Does it come with appliances? Whatever. And any incentives. If we, if my buyer decides to move forward, are there any incentives for going with your lender? There usually are. $3,000 towards closing costs. We'll pay all your closing costs. We'll do a rate buy down. We'll throw in appliances. But know that ahead of time. And then if it matches, you're like, okay, cool. I think my clients would like to see. So here's the questions you're going to ask them after that. Ask if you should ask for them when you come in or if it's a shared floor. Does anybody know what the shared floor is? Yes, commissions. That's how they get paid. They will respect you so much more if you ask them about how they're getting paid, because now they're going to be really appreciative and they're probably going to watch how you get paid, and they're going to make sure you're taken care of. Because sometimes it's a shared floor and it's like, doesn't matter, there's two of us in here and we share everything. Cool. But they always say, thank you for asking though, because if they're a new home builder, they are not a resale agent. They're a new home sales agent, which means they probably have bounced around and been at other builders that it's cutthroat. Like, you get this one, you get that one. It's kind of like car salesmen. And you got the three that you got nothing. And then this guy got all three that people bought something. And then they're sitting there with nothing. So, and then sometimes they'll say, yes, please make an appointment with me because we have a temp that comes in here. And, I'd rather just work with you. And that's important too. So when I come back with my client, when I bring my client on Tuesday, will you be here? Do I ask for you? Do I let them know that I've been working with you? Because again, if it's a shared floor, no big deal. But if they're selling, they only get a commission. They get a base. So I don't know if you guys know how they get paid. So they're going to get paid some kind of base salary, and then they'll get a bonus. It used to be they were going to get 2% of the home, and we get 3% of the home, but they took that away. So now they're generally all making a base, and then they'll get a bonus per home. So that's why you're like, hey, do you want, because that's their bonus, so they want you, and they're going to really respect you and appreciate you for asking about that, because it matters to them, it matters to us. That's how we get paid. That's how we put food on our tables. So, but also ask them, what are you guys co-oping us resale realtors? Don't be afraid to ask them that, because if they are only co-oping this, and you've already told and had a buyer broker agreement that says this, you've got to bet it's important to your buyer, because you're going to say whatever that seller does not contribute, that builder, you've got to turn to them and say, hey, I found a great home. But they're only paying X amount of money, and as you know, I get paid this, so that would be an extra additional $8,000 on your end. Are you willing to see that? Do you still want to see that? If not, there's nothing that we can do about that. That's the extra cost. Be honest about it, because would you go, if you were working at another business, why would you take less to do the same job? Like, set your price, and there's sometimes that we have to kind of waver from that, but I'm firm on, I give you 100%, and I'm going to get 100% of what I'm valued at. So, but make sure you ask. A lot of agents are like, I'll just take whatever okay, that's fine to take, but at least know ahead of time what they're going to pay you. Because there is a community out here that it's $500. $500, that's it. Brand new home, $400,000. Thank you, it's a referral. We don't pay commission. You get a $500 referral. Okay, that's a lot of work, and you've just been showing homes for 3 months. You'll know once you call them up. But because they tell you, you're like, hi, this is Wendy with Realty One Group. I have some clients that might be interested in your property. Hi, before we go any further, we don't pay commission, we pay a referral. Did you still want me to go into detail? Guess what? Yes, I'll take 15 minutes of your time for you to go through everything. And at the end, I'm going to say, I'm going to go ahead and ask my client if they want to make up the difference. But if not, thanks for the information. I'm going to make you work for it. Doesn't matter if I'm going there or not. I'm going to make you work for it. So there's nothing. They've been like that for years. They haven't changed. No, I can't. But anyway, so you'll know. You'll know ahead of time, because they start the conversation out like that, which is I appreciate, rather than me getting my buyers all wound up and to find out I'm like, I just told them about all that. Which again, you don't want to not show homes if it fits your buyer's criteria. You got to show them everything, but you just have to tell them, hey, I get X amount of money. They're only paying that. So that would be a $20,000 extra on your end. Are you okay with that? All right. You let them make that decision. But your job is to show them everything that meets their criteria. So, okay. So with that, and then again, see if the realtor wants you to make an appointment to set the time. Well, because they'll usually, when are you coming down? You know, I'd love to walk through the home with you. And they'll put a little sign up, say, add a model, I'll be back soon. And they'll walk with you, which is great because then you step back and you let them sell that house because we don't know all the ins and outs about it. So it's really nice to work with. I love selling new homes but I'm 100% like, hey, I will be with you. I will call weekly. I'm there taking pictures. I'm putting my hard hat on, getting some social media, but really, I'm doing everything, and I make a little book at the end from start to finish, and it's like of all these little pictures that they have, and they're really appreciative because there's not much I have to do during the transaction, but things happen, and home inspections are really good to still do on new homes. A lot of people think you don't need them, but I had a new agent that just sold down out in Cadence. And they don't want you to have a home inspector. I'll be quite honest. They fight you on it. And they make it very hard to get your home inspector in there, but you can have one. They went there and the ducting inside up in the roof wasn't even connected in one area, so it was cooling the whole attic. He would have never found it because when they do the walkthrough, they're like, this is how this works. That's how you don't go up in the attic. So he would have had this outrageous bill right in the middle of summer of this year. For what? For cooling his attic. And he's like, it's not getting cold. But luckily they found it before they closed and they ended up fixing it. So don't think that you can't have an inspection because you can. So now that's the phone call prior to getting there. Now if your client still wants to see it, you're going to arrive with your client. You're going to walk in. Tell your client, do not go in there without you. Always inform your clients when you start them up on an MLS search. Hey, there might be some new homes or for sale by owners. Just don't go there without me. Let me know and I'll call them ahead of time and then try to set something up or meet you out there. But now you've arrived with your client. You walk in. Hi, I'm Wendy Schaller with Realty One Group. Here's my card. These are my clients, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. Oh, yeah, we talked the other day on the phone. Awesome. Always walk up, introduce yourself, give your card. Kind of go over what they're looking for as we talked. This is what they're looking for. Do you have anything? What's your inventory like? Blah, 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 blah. You'll usually go view the home. And unless it's an absolute no, ask them. Because you're going to view the home, you're going to come back and ask any questions that your clients might have. And then if they don't have any questions, and it's just an absolute no, I don't want any of this, you thank you so much and walk out. But if there might be a slim chance that your buyer might come back and, yeah, I might want to buy here. You're just like, great, we walked the house, these are the questions. Hey, do I need to sign a registration form? No, you're good. No, you know what, I think I do need to sign a registration. Do not leave without signing your registration form. They will sign, they'll give it to you, you'll fill out the information, they have your client sign it, phone number and email, then they give it to you, you give it back to them. I would like my copy, please. So they tear it apart, there's like carbon copies, 3 copies. They give you a copy and they staple your card to their copy, the card that you handed them that when you walked in. Make sure you get your registration forms. Now, there have been times where my client, I was going out of town and I called them up and I'm like, listen, my client wants to go. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm leaving tonight. Can they come? I'll give you all of their information so they know you're my client. They're my client. A lot of them are really cool, and they say, yeah, I'll put them in the system. I'm going to fill out a form, and I'm going to email you that form. So now you still have the form. They really do want to work with us, and that's why I kind of get so aggravated when some of these agents are like, oh, the new home builders. Their job is to sell that home too, and half the time they can't do it without us because we are the ones bringing our clients. So yes, sometimes people walk up and just go directly to them, and it gets frustrating, but I tend to work really well with them, and at one point in my career, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on new homes. Got myself a binder, and I started going around to new home, this builder and all 12 of their properties. This builder, and I was like, okay, I'm going to have the binders for every builder. Then they changed the floor plans. I stopped selling this one. They changed the pricing. I can't keep up on that. You just can't. If you were just focusing on one builder, cool. But I sell everything. I sell resale, I sell new, and I don't care who the builder is. So it got to be too much. So I just had the knowledge myself. Kept a little running tab. I didn't need to make binders. I didn't need to do anything. And if they needed floor plans, I would call them. They'll email me the floor plans. And I'm like, hey guys, I found this. Does this work? Most of the time your clients are already going to the new home builders websites. They're looking, But if you find something that matches, because it might say 400,000 and they're only approved up to 380. Well, guess what? I call up there, I'm like, hey, do you have any fallouts? Do you have any? And if you build a rapport, a lot of times they'll call you and say, hey, Wendy, we're getting one, we have one that's just about ready to fall out. I wanted to call you before I put it to the market. Do you have anybody? So now I've got the skinny before they released it. So that's the thing, is just really on your free time, go to them, give them your card, say, hey, do you mind if I take some pictures? Do you mind if I just look at what models you have? You know, I always want to know what the inventory is. And then just every couple of weeks, hey, just seeing if you have any fallouts or anything so I can promote. They'll love you, and they'll call you. Get on their good side because they'll put you on their list. There's just so much with the new home builders, and I do love selling them. So, but I think that was, don't leave without filling out your registration card. And then go over with your client. Okay, so when you come back in, you know, you're asking clients like any questions that they might have. Does it come with granite? Does it come with shutters? Does it come with appliances? You want to know what's really going on with that, their time frames. Then you're going to ask, if they are kind of interested, what's your earnest money? Some of them are $3,000, some of them are $15,000, and it's non-refundable after 3 days. Well, it takes 6 months to build a home. Yep. So if you decide to walk away, you've just lost $15,000. It's a big chunk of money. Kind of important, and it's a big decision before they go into contract. So, and then they'll say you have to put the earnest money down now, and then you have 24 hours to come and fill out the application. That's it. I'm not even going to be in town. I'm working. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff that you need to know ahead of time. Closing cost incentives, amenities, HOAs, if it's gated, what the schools are. So, if your clients want to make an offer, ask the realtor, and they'll go over the process. If you have a contingency where they have to sell their house before they purchase this one. People think, I'm going to do a new build because it takes so long. Well, guess what? They'll work with you, but it's very strict timelines. Like, you have 2 weeks to get your house on the market, 30 days to get it under contract, 30 days to get it sold. They don't care if the house, it takes 12 months to build it. They don't care after 3 months where you're living. They don't care, but it needs to be sold. So either you got to do a rent back, which